So I'm moving to Vietnam in April of 2026. This means I need a passport. And if you've never gotten one before, the process can seem intimidating, but it's actually pretty straightforward. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did, step by step. This is my application confirmation. It's currently been processing for about 2 weeks, and I'm going to show you everything from start to finish. Now, before you can jump in and start filling out any forms, there are some paperwork items that you need to gather. Trust me, having all of this ready will make the process much easier. Let's talk about required documents. Proof of US citizenship. You're going to need a certified birth certificate. This is the one with the raised seal on it. For me here in New York, I have to go to the County Vital Statistics Office to request an official certified copy of my birth certificate. If you already have one, that's great. I had one, but because you're mailing this in and I want to keep a copy with me, I decided it was best to go get another copy. And while I was down there, I got 2 copies. Why? Because it doesn't hurt to have extras, especially when you're traveling overseas. Something happens, your passport gets lost, your passport gets stolen, whatever. You now have proof that you are a U.S. citizen when you're trying to work through getting a replacement passport. You can also use a previous passport. You can use a naturalization certificate if you were not born here in the United States. Now, one of the other things that you are going to want to do if you're going through the post office like I did is you are going to want to make a photocopy of this because they need the original plus a copy to send in. You will get the original back with your passport. Next, you're going to need a form of photo identification. This can be a driver's license, a state-issued ID, a military ID. I brought my driver's license. And again, much like the photocopy of our certified birth certificate, you're probably going to want to bring a photocopy of the front and the back of your driver's license. This again will help speed things up. Otherwise, the person at the post office has to go make those copies for you. So if you have the ability, save yourself the time, the hassle, and do it ahead of time and bring it all with you. Next, you're going to need a photo. Now, this has to be a passport photo, so you're looking for something 2 inches by 2 inches. It's taken within the last 6 months, has a white or off-white background. No glasses, no hats, no nothing. It's very strict on what you can have in this photo. But don't worry, don't stress. You can get this taken at many of the post offices. Other places, Staples, some of the UPS stores, and other locations. If you search for passport photo near me inside Google, it's going to deliver a bunch of locations where you can get this taken. My suggestion, go through the post office. Make this nice and easy. Everything can be handled there. It's mailed out right there. Boom, everything taken care of. Now, one of the services the post office does offer is allow you to purchase additional photos. I highly recommend you getting extra copies of the photo. So the initial fee for photos covers 2 photos. One goes with your application, the other one's given back to you. You can buy additional sheets of those photos, so additional sets of 2. You're going to want these because sometimes when you're going and traveling to other countries, when you apply for a visa, they're going to ask for a photo. Pull one out, you got it there. The savings in time alone when you're in those circumstances versus stressing later on trying to figure out how you're going to get the photo that's needed for a visa to enter another country. And last item you really need to have with you, payment. Now let's talk about payment because you're going to need several forms of payment. Well, it could be one form of payment, but you're going to make multiple payments. This isn't all paid in one payment. So right away, you're going to have an application fee. Now, this application fee, depending on what you get, whether you're getting just the book, just the card, or the book and the card, which is what I did. I got both of them because applying for it now, might as well do all of it at once. So the application fee for the book is $130. The card, $30. So the two of them combined is $160. Now there are some additional fees if you want to expedite your application, and we will go into those later in this video. I went ahead and went with the standard processing time, and we'll talk more on the different time frames and how you can expedite things when we get to the timeline section in this video. In addition, you will have an acceptance fee. This is a fee that's paid to the post office. The application fee for the passport book and or card is paid to the Department of the State. That is who handles all of the passport applications and processing. This can be paid for via money order or personal check. They cannot take credit card for that payment. Since you're at the post office, you can get a money order right there off of your debit card. The acceptance fee, this is the fee for the post office processing your application. And this is no matter where you go is going to have this acceptance fee. This standard fee is set by the Department of State for any facility that is processing a passport application. It is $35. The post office will let you pay for that via cash, credit card, debit card, what have it. Now, if you choose to get your photo taken at the post office, it's $15. You want extra sets of those photos, like what I got another sheet, so I ended up walking away with 3 photos that I have. It's $15 per additional sheet, not per photo, because remember, you get 2 photos to a sheet. So my advice is to make sure you bring cash, a debit card, or a personal check, or a combination of all. I would highly, highly, highly recommend you go through the post office for this processing. One-stop shop, get everything taken care of, even if you've got to get a money order for payment processing and it gets mailed out right there at the facility. Next, we're going to talk about the online application. You're going to fill out what's called a DS-11 form. And don't worry, I'm going to show you all about that. Now, it is critical, and I'm going to repeat it again, it is critical that you do not sign this application prior to going to the processing facility. They must witness you signing it. If you sign it beforehand, the entire application will be voided and you'll have to do another one. All right, so there are a couple of ways we can start this process. One, again, I recommend going through the post office. So you can go to USPS.com/international/passports.htm, or you can just simply go to the USPS site and search for passports. Alternatively, you can go to the State Department's website, so travel.state.gov. And get the same information. The USPS kind of lays out everything, including the process for setting up an appointment to get your paperwork processed, your photos taken, all of that fun stuff. And they kind of lay it out in a nice, easy to follow format that kind of gets you this information about gathering your documents, which we just talked about, applying for a passport in person, looking at the fees, preparing your application process with a convenient link directly to the form. Remember, we're going to fill out a DS-11. Now, this is all based on first-time passport holders. So if you've never had a passport before, this is how you go through it. Renewing it, a little bit different process. If you're a minor, again, a little bit different process. You can pick which path you want to go down based on your situation. For me, I've traveled all around the world 30 years ago, never needed a passport, simply my military ID and an official looking piece of paper that you would just wave and say, yep, I'm on orders. Even if you weren't on orders, you could sneak through into customs into another country by showing your military ID and some kind of piece of paper that looked like it was an official government document. Nowadays, not so much. A lot of stuff is digitized. A lot of stuff is, a lot more strict. And you need to go through getting a passport. So we're going to take a look at this application. So we're going to go to the link that takes us right to the site. And we're going to say the application for passport, the renewal is a different application. Hit form filler. It's going to take us to a site that says, hey, you're entering your personal information into a U.S. government website, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I've read the privacy policy. Submit. If you don't check it, you can't complete it. If you don't complete it, you don't get a passport. So it's now telling us we can fill out the following forms. Let's go ahead. Boom. And it's going to start by asking us some information about ourselves. Our name, our date of birth, our city of birth, country of birth, state, your social security number or registration number. The sex that is identified by you on your birth certificate as well as your photo ID, so your driver's license. As you can see, they give you two choices, male or female. This does not account for those who identify as anything else under the sun. This is officially what is on your birth certificate, and it must match. If it does not match, your application will be rejected. Your height, your hair color, your eye color, your occupation, and your employer or school. Now, if you do click these little question marks, it will pop up and tell you some information about that field. Enter the name of the company where you work or the name of your school if you are a student. This field is optional, so you may choose not to set any information. However, occupation is required, and it tells us it's mandatory for adults and must be completed as descriptively as possible. If a title alone will not make it clear, if you are not employed, state so in the occupation field. If you are self-employed, the type of work you perform should be completed in the occupation and self-employed entered in as the employer. Children should enter student or child in the occupation field. So in order to go to the next screen, I do have to complete out this information. So we are going to put in Frank Rizzo, no middle name. Our date of birth, 01/01/1970. City of birth, I'm just going to use Syracuse. State, New York. Yes, this is all bogus. I am not Frank Rizzo. Social security number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Obviously, use your real social security number or your application will get rejected. If you do not have a social security number, but you have a registration number, you'll use the A number here. Male, 5 feet, 11 inches, hair color brown, eye color blue, occupation, Rizzo Computers, Inc. All right, so now it's going to ask your mailing address. Where do you want your passport to be mailed to, right? So we're going to say 123 Memory Lane. No second line. Syracuse, New York. 3211. If it's going in care of somebody, so if your applicant's a child or the name of a parent or guardian, you can put it there. Is this also your permanent address? If your mailing address is a P.O. box or some kind of other mailbox service, you need to say no and enter your physical address. So I'm just going to say for the sakes and purposes, it is our permanent address. Preferred method of communication, mail, email, or both. So I'm going to say both because I want them to get a hold of me. Then you're going to put in your email, rizzo@gmail.com. No, that is not, well, it might be a real email address, but that's not my email address. Phone number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, and this is my cell. Okay, you can add more than one number if you need to. If you have travel plans that are already known or anticipated, you can put in your dates of travel. On my application, I left this blank because I don't know the exact dates yet that I'm leaving. I know roughly it's going to be April based on the timelines. I'm just going to leave this blank in our application here. Who should we contact in case of emergency? You're going to want to fill this out. You're going to want to be somebody that they can get a hold of if there is a problem. Your most recent passport. Have a passport book and want to renew or replace it. Have a passport card, want to renew or replace it. Have both a book and a card, want to renew or replace both documents. First-time applicant, or do not want to submit most recent passport. I'm a first-time applicant. Well, not really because I applied a few weeks ago, but Frank Rizzo is a first-time applicant. So now you need to enter some information about your parents. Now this should match what's on your birth certificate and completed as much as possible that you know. So you want the first and middle at parents' birth. So Frank's dad is Frank. Last name Rizzo. I don't know Frank's dad's birth. I don't know his place of birth. I know he's a male, and yes, he was a US citizen. His mom, Wilma Jones, was her maiden name at birth. Because remember, this is at your parents' birth. Female, yes, US citizen. Has the applicant ever been married before? If you were married before, you better check yes, because they do pull up these records. Any information not accurate will cause your application to get denied. And you'll have to go through the whole process, pay another fee. So make sure you complete this out. Now, if you're divorced, you still say yes, you were married because it asks, have you ever been married before? There is an option down here to say you're widowed or divorced, and then you can enter the dates. So you'll complete the name, last name, date of birth, place of birth, are they a citizen, the marriage date, and then again, like I said, if you're widowed or divorced, you select yes, it gives you an option to say the date in here. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to say no, Frank was never married, because it just makes the application go a little bit faster. Any other names you've ever been known by, you will add them here. So then you get to review the application. Is everything correct? Just double check it if you need to edit a block. And then you go ahead and say next. Now it's going to ask us, what do we want, right? Well, we're going to want a passport book. And I chose to get the large book because it adds additional pages, which if you're going to do frequent traveling and they stamp these pages, you don't want to have to come back in 2 years because you're out of pages in your passport to come get a new passport book. So I'm going to say, yes, I want the large book. I'm going to do passport and card, which I did. Now, the card is good for traveling by car into Canada and Mexico as a U.S. citizen. I got it because I'm doing the application at one time rather than come back later and try to ask for it. It's over and done with. So as you can see, it's $130 for the book, $30 for the card. You can do either one. Or you can do $160 for both. Now, we talked earlier about the different levels of services, right? We talked about that there was an option to expedite it if you had to, and you would have to pay an additional fee. Well, we're going to discuss it a little bit more here because it's on the application. Routine service, which is 4 to 6 weeks. Our processing time begins the day we receive your application at the passport office or center, not the day you mailed the application. So if you think about it, it takes about a week. At least it took about a week for mine to go from the post office to the State Department. Expedited service expedites the service to take 2 to 3 weeks. And again, that processing time begins once they receive your application, not when you mailed it. That's an additional $60. Hindsight, I wish I had paid the extra $60 instead of sitting here in this waiting period. When I applied, yeah, I was like, I got time. I still have time. I'm still good. I just would like to hurry up and get it done. And then if you have an extreme case where there's a family death, family illness, that type of stuff, you can do a very expedited service that can only be done at an actual agency, the State Department agency or passport center that is not a third party that's processing it for you. Now, you have to travel within the next 14 days. Now, they're going to want to see proof. You're going to go there to apply. If you need this, then you've got a rare circumstance. Then you're going to talk about delivery. The standard delivery, they're going to mail it. Your documents may come up to 4 weeks after receiving your passport. So you'll get your passport and then you get your supporting documents separately. They're not combined together. 1 to 2 day delivery. That's going to be, once they mail it, your documents are still going to come 4 weeks later, but you'll get your passport instead of waiting standard delivery, which will take, again, about a week, depending on where you're at in the country. If you want to get it in 1 to 2 days, then you pay another $22.05. And the passport card is only available standard delivery. So I did not choose to do any of those. Additional fees if you want file searches. So that's if you don't have proof of citizenship, you want them to go through and look for your proof. It's $150. And then you have this mandatory fee for a new passport book or card, which is $35. And that's what you pay to the facility that's doing it. So mine was processed through a post office. That's who I paid the $35 to. So as you can see, my total is going to be $195. That's without the photos getting taken. Now, one of the things is if you are a U.S. government employee or you are in the military, there are some ways that you can get a no-fee passport as long as it's being used for official government travel. And you'll want to go through a different process for that. And, that's not something we're covering in this video. That's an abnormal situation that, military, there's facilities on the military bases that will help you get through this process. And government employees, you'll have somebody that you can reach out to that can help you get through the process. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. And what it's going to do, it says that, we got to appear in person, which is obviously what we're doing. We're going to a facility that's processing it. You locate an agency for urgent travel only. For routine and expedited, locate a facility. You can search for it here. Like I said, we can make an appointment right on the website here for a post office, and we'll walk through that here in a minute. So it's reminding us that we need a passport photo. We need the correct fees. The U.S. State Department needs $160, payable to the acceptance facility, $35. So again, they're telling you 2 separate payments. Proof of identity, proof of citizenship, right? And then they're reminding you again, do not sign this application until you are at the processing facility and the person reviewing your application tells you, go ahead and sign here. So we're saying we're certified. We read this instructions on how to print this application. Make sure you read it. Make sure you follow it. Otherwise, the barcodes get cut off, and then they have no way to track every page of the application as being your application. And then you're simply going to hit print form, and it's going to remind you once again, make sure you check your printer settings so that those don't get cut off. They're telling you that many times. Well, that's because they have a lot of people that keep making those same mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and save this in my downloads. And we'll pull it up so that you can see it. And the first few pages are all the instructions, all of the information telling you what goes in what fields, it just walked us through this, but you could physically complete this form by hand if you wanted to. We did it on the computer, so everything's kind of typed in. See this barcode here? You'll also find a barcode here, a barcode here. Those are all how they track your application, right? So do not sign this line until you are there. See how this says stop, continue to page 2. Don't sign this application till requested to do so by the authorized agent. How many people you think have signed this and showed up and had to redo it? I mean, obviously they've told us like 20 times now, don't sign it. So what do you make sure you do? Don't sign it. So just got to double check your application, print it out, and bring that with you to your appointment. All right, now the fun stuff. Let's make our appointment to get our paperwork processed and get our photos taken. Again, I went through the post office. I highly recommend you do the same. It's a quick, easy process. If you want to go through another facility, you're going to have to figure out the process on your own. I know the process I did, which was the post office. Quick and easy. All right, so it's time to go to the post office, right? Not yet. We got to make an appointment. Now, some post offices will let you walk in, but you're at the mercy of their availability. The people who are certified to check your application might not be working. So I highly recommend you use the appointment scheduler and you pick a time that's convenient for you and the post office. Does that mean that because you have an appointment, you might not have to wait? Nope. You might get there and find out that they're busy handling other things because these people are not dedicated to doing passports. They also do other mail services. So let's go ahead and use the online scheduler. So we can get to this from the same page we were on at the post office about passports. In addition, on their homepage, they have down here, need a passport, schedule an appointment. So let's go ahead and click our schedule an appointment link. And right away, it's going to ask, what kind of service are we looking for? Well, we want new passport with photo services only, passport renewal, new passport only. We're going to say with photo services. One adult, no minors. And it's telling me here it's going to be a $15 fee for the photo services. We're going to search by location. You can also search by date. We'll put in a zip code within 20 miles. And we want to make sure this box is checked. Passport photo locations, right? Last thing we want to do is schedule this for a post office where they can't take a picture. If you need pictures. So you search. It's going to come back and tell us what's available in our area. So here, notice again, it says limited walk-in hours. Limited walk-in hours. Every single one of them. Limited walk-in hours. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this Taft Road location. That is the location I went to. They tell you here's their normal business hours. Here's their normal passport hours. They do have passport walk-in hours. It's only 1 hour Monday, Wednesday, Saturday in the morning. How many people you think might be in there, especially on a Saturday morning? Highly recommend make an appointment. And photos are only done during these times. So if you look, photos are not done during the walk-in time. Select a date. So this shows us what's available. It says dates you can search for an appointment. No appointments available. Dates you've selected. Not available yet for scheduling. So anything in white we can pick. I can do as early as tomorrow. Let's see what they got for tomorrow, right? Look at that. There's appointment available at 10:45, 11, 11:15, 11:30, 11:45. 2 o'clock, 2:15. So you select which one you want, and then it's going to ask you to say, what is your name? What is your phone number? Your email address? You have the option to send this appointment update via text message. Choose a verification method, text message or email. They will send you a verification link before your appointment gets scheduled. You need to make sure you enter this verification code or your appointment will not be created. So I chose text message, agree to the terms and conditions, click send verification code. It will then send you that code. You enter it back in here and your appointment is scheduled. You'll get reminders on it. That's it. That's how easy that process is. So now we have our appointment, we have our application, we have all of our documentation. All we have to do is show up for our appointment. So, what does the process look like with that? Well, for starters, you need to walk into the post office. I would recommend showing up 5 to 10 minutes early for your appointment, just in case nobody's there or in case you forgot something or anything else. If nobody is in the post office and the clerk is free, they're probably going to take you early, and they would be thankful for taking you early. I know I covered primarily going to the post office. That is the method I chose. Some alternatives that you could think about that might be closer to you. Maybe there isn't a post office near you that processes passports, but you can look at your county clerk's office. Obviously, you'll want to check with them to make sure they can do it. Some libraries do it, and there are other facilities. Check the link that was on the government website on the travel.state.gov website that showed you where to find a facility near you. I think that the post office makes it very easy. Their website is easy to navigate. The process was simple. Everything gets mailed out right there. It was simple, quick, easy. I can't stress it anymore that it just works. Now, I will highly, highly recommend that you book your appointment as early as possible, because during busy travel seasons, especially spring, summer, appointments can fill up weeks in advance. As you saw on the calendar, we were able to book tomorrow morning if I wanted to. However, you get a busy time, it might be 2 weeks before there's a next appointment available. All right, it's appointment day. What are we going to do? We're going to head to the post office. You want to make sure you're 5-10 minutes early at least, if not 15 minutes early for your appointment. Sometimes they can squeeze you in a little bit early. Sometimes they might be busy and you have to wait. So allow flexibility in your schedule. Don't be that angry American that stands there and bitches and complains because they are 2 minutes late to your appointment. Or don't be that lazy American that shows up 5 minutes late and then gets pissed because they make you reschedule. All right, so what do we need to bring with us? We need our printed, unsigned application. We need our original birth certificate. We need our photo ID, preferably a driver's license, a state ID, or military ID. We need our payment. Remember, we have money that's owed to the state for the application. We have money that's owed to the facility for processing. And if you're getting a photo taken, you have additional fees there. Double check you have everything before you leave the house. Do not forget anything. Why do I say this? Because people forget. Oh, I left my check at home. Oh, my application, I forgot page 2. Oh. Double, triple check before you walk out of that house. Pack it the night before. Put it all into a nice manila folder so that you have everything complete and organized. And as I highly recommended, bring photocopies of your ID, bring photocopies of your birth certificate. You save the time on the post office clerk or whatever clerk of where you're going to get yours processed, and they will be thankful for that. You make their life easier, they're happy to make your life easier. So what happens at our appointment? Well, you're going to check in. They're going to verify you have all your documents. This takes maybe 5 minutes. Then, if you need a photo, they're going to take your photo. They'll do it right there. It's a quick 2-minute process. They're going to put you into a special spot that they have that's already set up with the white background. They know exactly where to place the camera. At the post office I went to, the guy made sure that your eyes were open, you're not blinking, you have semi-smile on your face. It's not a prison photo, it's a passport photo. You're going to review your documents. They're going to check your ID, your birth certificate. They're going to make sure everything matches to what you put on the form. Then they're going to ask you to sign it. Now remember, you sign this in front of them. You wait until they tell you, I need you to sign here. They witness your signature. That's why you can't sign this at home. And then payment time. You need the money for your application. So $130 if you're getting just a passport. If you're getting the book. If you're getting the card, another $30. That's going to get made out to the Department of State. And I used a personal check that I wrote on for mine. You can do a money order. You're right there at the post office. You can get one. You're going to need a $35 fee that is going to go to the post office themselves. So as you can see, I have a receipt here. It has on it passport fees, $35. Application type, routine services, passport type, adult book, adult card. Photo services, $15. Photo services, $15. Remember, I said I got an extra set of my photos. What does that give me? That gives me 3 photos. So I have one on this one. They cut this one out to put on my application, and another set of my photos. So when I'm overseas and I want to go travel to another country, they require a photo for their visa. I have it. I'm prepared. This goes with me. $15 saves a lot of headaches later trying to find, when you're in a foreign country, somebody that can do a photo to the specifications that are needed. Receipt. You're going to get that receipt. That shows that you paid that fee for the application processing. Outside of that, you have that tracking number that was on your application. Make sure you retain a copy of that application. I printed out a second copy so that I have one. However, I'll show you when we go into the tracking website, they don't even want that number. They're going to ask you your last name, your date of birth, the last 4 of your social security number, a verification code, and then it's going to go through and find you in the system. So my whole appointment probably took about an hour. My actual time spent with the clerk was probably less than 10 minutes. Why did it take me an hour? Well, because I had an appointment early in the morning, and I showed up early for my appointment to find out that the clerk that was on that morning had a mandatory training that they had to attend. So nobody got any notifications to cancel. Throughout the rest of the morning, there was 4 other people who also came in to find out the same thing. We were all told to come back at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is when the second clerk for the day, who's certified to do passports, came in. So he walked in to find a whole group of us standing there waiting because all of us were told to come back at the same time. So he kind of processed them in the order that the people came in. So it took a little bit of waiting because there was a few people there ahead of me. So, but all good. You may not experience that issue. You may walk in and get right in and out. It all depends on how busy your post office is that you go to. All right, up next, we're going to talk about what takes place after the submission, the tracking, and the timelines. Okay, we submitted our application. We sent it in through the post office. They mailed it off. They sent it to the Department of State. Now the waiting game begins. Here's what you can honestly expect. Week 1 to 2, the processing begins. It took about 7 days for my application to show up in the system. I'm going to show you how to track your application and the status here in a minute. Weeks 3 through 6, your application is going to be in processing. This is if you chose standard processing, which is 4 to 6 weeks from when they receive your application. Now, you'll want to check these timelines with the State Department's website because they change frequently. If they are busy with applications, this may extend out and become 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. So always be checking, always be planning ahead. Don't wait till the last minute to try and get a passport. So mine's been in processing now for about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. Once it finishes, it'll take another week to 2 weeks for it to be delivered. So realistically, the total timeline, I'm looking at 6 to 8 weeks to get my passport from the time that I walked into the post office and submitted my application. All right, we're back at the travel.state.gov website, and right away we're going to click US passports again. And there's a few things in here that are helpful to us. Processing times. You heard me talk about processing times, right? So if we click here, it's going to take us to a page that's going to show us all the current processing times. 4 to 6 weeks for routine, 2 to 3 weeks for expedited. Urgent, make an appointment. You must be traveling within 14 days, and there are some other criteria behind it that must be met. One of the other things you can do from the site is, calculate your fees, get more information about it, talk about what happens if you need it rushed, respond to a letter or email that they send you, how to use your new passport. You can subscribe to email updates about your application status. Over here, it always tells you processing times, how to get it fast. Or you can check your application status, this nice big button up here. So we are going to go check our application status. It does take us to a page that, tells us a little bit more about the statuses. It could be in process, approved, passport mailed, supporting documents mailed. So those are the statuses that you have. One of the other statuses you'll see, not available. What does this mean? Either there's an issue with the site or they haven't received your application yet. So let's go ahead and jump into the process here. U.S. passport status. So yes, we read the privacy policy. We're going to hit submit. And I am going to add some information in here about myself. So I'm going to pause this real quick, plug this data in, and then come right back to you. And we're back. So as we can see, my application is currently in processing. They received my application for a passport book and card on 1/21/2026. Today is the 28th, so they've had it about a week. It says I selected routine service, and it'll take about 4 to 6 weeks. Here I can enter my email address and hit submit, and then it'll subscribe me to updates, and you'll get a notification anytime that status changes. That's how easy it is to check the status on your website. So travel.state.gov is going to be your main site that you're going to want to go to for any information about the passport application as well as the status of your application. So it seems like a lot that we threw at you, a lot to do, but honestly, the process is simple. It's easy. They walk you through it step by step, filling out all the pieces of paper. Most importantly, make sure you have all your documentation together. So here are the mistakes that delay people's applications. Don't be that person. Signing the form at home. You must sign it in front of the clerk. Using a photocopy of your birth certificate. Remember, you need that original with the raised seal. You'll want to bring a photocopy in addition to it because they're going to need more than one copy. The wrong photo specs. Oh, I can take a picture of myself on my phone and print it out. Well, guess what? It needs to be 2 by 2 inches. It has to be a recent photo, and it has to have a plain background, preferably white or off-white. Not making an appointment. Many locations require the appointment, and if you don't make one, they're going to turn you away. They will not accept your application. And this one, applying too close to your travel date. Give yourself 3 or more months at a minimum because there is always other circumstances that could potentially delay your application. And the last one, forgetting to check your passport's validity. Some countries require you to have at least 6 months validity on your passport beyond your travel dates. So I'm going to Vietnam. I got a 90-day tourist visa. I need 6 months after my departure date still valid on my passport in order for my visa to get approved. Watch your dates. Make sure you're always current. They don't want you stuck in their country because your passport expired. That's it. That is the complete process. Is it perfect? No. Is it complicated? Not really. It's just bureaucratic. But now you know exactly what to do. It's a government process. You got to follow the process to get the results. My application's currently in week 2 of processing. I'll update you when it arrives, probably in another video where I'll show you what it looks like and maybe start planning exactly when I'm leaving. If you're planning your own move abroad or just need a passport for travel, I hope this helped. Drop a comment if you have any questions. I'm learning this stuff right alongside you. And if you want to follow the whole journey of me moving from Syracuse to Vietnam, hit that subscribe button. The next video, I'll probably be tackling what am I going to be packing? What am I going to be bringing? Budget. And I got to tell my friends and family.